Thank you so much. We need women like Lori and Emma and Alexis in office. Good afternoon, neighbors and friends. We're gathered here today in love and from a mutual concern over the threat to reproductive rights. We are here to demand reproductive justice. Maybe this is your first time to gather with others in the sunshine for this cause. Maybe you're just finding your voice. Or maybe you've raised your voice a dozen times. Either way, your voice is welcome here. People ask me, why do we have to protest this again? It's not easy to raise your voice on reproductive justice. Shame and secrecy about private matters is a tactic that's been used to preserve entrenched power and prevent change for forever. We protest because privacy is under attack again. Your right to contraception and abortion is based on an implied right to privacy in our Constitution's Bill of Rights. That's how the Supreme Court decided the cases that legalized both contraception and abortion in the late 1960s and early 1970s. How are we going to preserve our hard-won reproductive rights? Can we achieve reproductive justice? Yes, we can. LGBTQ activists during the AIDS epidemic were fighting the Republicans in power who were ignoring the AIDS crisis. That sign that the activists carried said, "Silence equals death." Do you remember? Republicans said nothing could be done about AIDS, but that global epidemic called the LGBTQ community together, and they came out onto the streets, just like you are today. They wouldn't be shamed into silence anymore. The LGBTQ community paired with medical professionals and beat back that terrible disease. Out of that formed a new vision of the family, that people who weren't straight could form loving, healthy families, and that those families too deserved our full acceptance and support. That's reproductive justice. Monday will mark the 5th anniversary of a tweet that changed history. Republicans said nothing could be done about sexual harassment and assault. Shame and secrecy are the ways sexual predators operate. But in 2017, one victim spoke up so publicly that it inspired Alyssa Milano to ask women to just tweet me too if they'd ever experienced it. Millions of women tweeted back. Breaking that silence swept thousands of protesters out of positions where they'd abused their power for so long. That too is reproductive justice. By the summer of 2020, we realized something else. Your voice isn't always heard on a screen. Hi, guys. In spring of 2020, Breonna Taylor was murdered in the privacy of her own home, in her bedroom. George Floyd was murdered. Black Lives Matter brought people into the streets in a multiracial wave of protests. Finally, the voices calling for an end to mass incarceration are beginning to be heard. When families are reunited and repaired from the devastation of mass incarceration, from racially selective drug enforcement, that too is reproductive justice. We lose about 1 American woman per day to death from pregnancy and childbearing. Obstetricians say half of those those deaths are completely preventable. Those deaths mainly occur in Republican held states in the South and Midwest. That's where the clinics are closing. That's where reproductive rights are most under attack. That maternal death rate, as well as the infant mortality rate in those states, are the highest in the developed world. Don't ever let a Republican tell you they're pro-life. In the richest country in the world, more women die during pregnancy and childbirth than in any other developed country. Those deaths are mainly women, poor women, and women of color living in those same southern and midwestern states, when women of all social classes and all races can expect a safe pregnancy and childbirth. That too will be reproductive justice. We will never go back to that terrible time before Roe versus Wade, when a woman who faced an unplanned pregnancy had to hide herself away in a maternity home, had to relinquish her child to a married couple, had to pretend she never had a baby at all. That was a horrifically traumatic experience for millions of American women, and it should never happen again. When we offer both single and married women the support they need to mother the children they want, that is reproductive justice. We need to stop funding fake clinics who set up shop beside legitimate family planning clinics. They don't offer reproductive health services. Instead, they give women pregnancy tests, ultrasounds they don't need, and they try to confuse and mislead women about their real options when they face an unplanned pregnancy. When your federal tax dollars are no longer diverted to fake medical clinics who are just talk, that too will be reproductive justice. Meanwhile, in a very short time, the Supreme Court will hollow out Roe versus Wade, if not completely overturn it. We will wake up soon to find ourselves in a dangerous situation where women in some states are served by gynecologists who are afraid to tell them the truth about their options, who have no clinics to send the women to, where women will be misled about their contraceptive and abortion options, no matter what their personal situation, no matter what their medical health. The United States can't compromise by having only some states be free. We can't have a country where Southern women are smuggled north for an abortion. We need reproductive justice. Women of color are no longer shamed and silenced about the terrible struggle they've had for reproductive justice. They have been sterilized without their informed consent for decades. They've had their parental rights violated. They've had their children removed. They've been imprisoned on trumped-up child abuse charges with the children they are giving life to still in their bellies. They have created the organizations that we should be supporting now to establish reproductive justice. We need clean, safe communities to raise our kids in, even if we're not straight or white, or working full-time in a job with really generous benefits. We need reproductive justice now. You can do something. You can do it here today. In a few minutes, Debbie DiDonato and Kathy, what's Kathy's last name, from Indivisible? Where is she? Mormon. and Kathy and Linda Fote, from Ocean County now, are going to explain to us exactly what to do today. Don't ever doubt that your body, in the sun, on the street, your voice raised up, won't make the change. It already has, and it will. Thank you. Sorry, I'm Cynthia Ninavaji. Little plug, I am the Director of Women's Studies at Georgian Court University, right here in Ocean County. And I think up next is an amazing woman organizer, Debbie Donato. Where is she?